Hi everyone, if you're struggling not getting success, then this video is for you. Nowadays, there's one truth in life that nobody can change. Your success is in your hands. It is not in the hands of luck. The only person who has the power to decide your future is you. But the question is, do you believe in yourself? Today, we'll talk about it. My name is Muniba Mazari, and I'm a motivational speaker. If you find this video fruitful, then you can appreciate me by like and subscribe and start a new journey with me. Let's start the topic. There comes a time in life when you have to confront the truth. Your feelings are not always your friends. Some feelings will guide you, inspire you, uplift you, but others will chain you to fear, tie you down with regret, and whisper lies in the dark corners of your mind. Emotions are a fundamental part of being human. They are the colors that paint the canvas of our life. They tell us when something feels right, when something is wrong, when we're in danger, and when we're safe. Emotions connect us to others, give depth to our experiences, and help us understand ourselves. But not all emotions are equal in their impact. Some guide us, heal us, empower us. Others mislead us, trap us, and keep us stagnant. And while every emotion is valid because it arises from a place of experience, not every emotion deserves to be in the driver's seat of your life. There are feelings that enter your life uninvited. Fear, doubt, guilt, insecurity. They arrive not as guests, but as thieves. They rob you of your peace, your potential, and your power. And the tragedy is, we often listen to them more than we listen to truth. We believe what they say. We follow where they lead. We allow these emotions to build walls around us. Walls made of invisible bricks that feel real and heavy, but only exist because we let them. You feel unworthy, so you don't try. You feel afraid, so you don't move. You feel broken, so you don't speak. And slowly, without even realizing it, you start living a version of life that is much smaller than the one meant for you. All because you handed the pen over to your feelings and let them write your story. We are not taught to question our emotions. We are taught to obey them. But what if your emotions are lying to you? What if that fear is just an echo from a moment when someone made you feel small and not a reflection of who you really are? What if the guilt you carry is not yours to bear? What if the insecurity you feel is not your truth, but a wound that never healed? When we stop to ask these questions, we start taking back our power, because emotions should inform you, not imprison you. They are signals, not sentences. Feeling fear doesn't mean you're not brave. Feeling lost doesn't mean you're not capable. Feeling pain doesn't mean you're not strong. You are allowed to feel, but you are also allowed to rise above what you feel. That is the power of emotional intelligence. That is the power of awareness. Some people go their whole lives reacting to everything they feel. They become like leaves in the wind, tossed around by every storm of emotion. They lash out, shut down, give up, all because they never paused to question what was happening inside of them. They thought every emotion was a command, but it's not. It's a signal. And signals are meant to be interpreted, not blindly obeyed. When you learn to observe your feelings instead of becoming them, everything begins to change. You notice the difference between instinct and impulse, between truth and trauma. You begin to understand which emotions are rooted in reality and which ones are echoes from a wounded past. And when you reach that point, when you can stand in the storm and still choose your direction, that's when you know. They're still there, they still visit, but they don't lead, you do. You become the one who decides whether fear gets a seat at the table, whether doubt gets to speak into your dreams, whether guilt gets to shape your identity. You learn to say, I feel you, but I don't follow you. And that is one of the most powerful things you will ever do. Weak feelings often come disguised as comfort, and that's where we get tricked. They appear so inviting, so familiar, as though they are protecting us from the unknown. But in reality, they're holding us back, trapping us in a place where growth and change feel like distant dreams. These feelings don't show up with the force of a storm. They creep in, slowly and subtly, under the guise of self-preservation. They make us think we're doing the safe thing, the smart thing, when in fact, we're simply staying stuck. We all have a natural tendency to seek comfort. It's human, it's natural. But comfort doesn't always equate to progress. In fact, comfort often keeps us from the very things we need to grow. It makes us avoid challenges, shrink from opportunities, and settle for what is easy rather than what is best. You may find yourself stuck in a cycle of comfort where fear, insecurity, or self-doubt are allowed to reign because they promise you safety, but that so-called safety is an illusion. The feelings that tell you to stay in your comfort zone, to avoid risks, to not push forward, are weak feelings. They come wrapped in layers of excuses. It's not the right time. You don't have the skills. You might fail. They tell you that it's better to stay where you are than to venture into the unknown. But deep down, you know that what's truly risky is not taking the leap, not reaching for what's just out of your grasp. The greatest risk is staying in a place where you can never grow. These feelings may try to convince you that you're protecting yourself, that you're being smart, that you're avoiding failure. But what they don't tell you is that failure is not the end. Failure is the learning process. And without it, without stepping out and failing and trying again, you will never move forward. It's in those moments of discomfort that you will discover your true potential. But to get there, you have to first recognize the weak feelings for what they truly are. Sometimes these feelings look like procrastination. They disguise themselves as reasons to delay, as excuses to not get started. You tell yourself that you'll do it tomorrow, that now isn't the right time, that you need more information or more experience. But what's really happening is that fear is masquerading as logic. Procrastination is just another way of staying in your comfort zone, avoiding the discomfort that comes with progress. And you let it win day after day until one day you look back and realize that the time you thought you were saving has slipped away, leaving you in the same spot, still stuck. These weak feelings might also appear as self-doubt. You tell yourself that you're not good enough, that you don't have what it takes, that someone else is better equipped to handle the task. But the truth is, everyone feels self-doubt. It's not the absence of self-doubt that defines success, but the courage to move forward in spite of it. The weak feelings are telling you to listen to that voice of self-doubt, to let it decide your path, but you have the power to choose differently. You have the power to say, I hear you, but I won't let you control me. Weak feelings might even take the form of familiarity, making you feel safe because they've always been there. You might feel a sense of security in the patterns you followed, even if those patterns aren't helping you grow. The fear of the unknown keeps you stuck in the familiar, even if that familiarity isn't bringing you joy, success, or fulfillment. The comfort zone feels safer than the unknown, but the unknown is where the magic happens, where change, growth, and transformation are waiting for you. When you choose to step out of your comfort zone, you step into a life that is greater than the one you've known. But first, you must be willing to let go of what feels safe. The real danger is not the fear or discomfort you face when stepping out of your comfort zone. It's the weak feelings that try to keep you there, disguised as safety, that will prevent you from ever experiencing the life you're meant to live. These feelings are not your friends. They are your chains, and they will keep you bound unless you make the choice to break free. Comparison kills confidence and joy. Yet it's one of the most common traps we fall into. We live in a world constantly measuring us against others. From social media to societal expectations, we are surrounded by voices that tell us how we should look, act, and achieve. It's easy to get caught in the cycle of comparison, especially when we see someone else excelling or living a life that appears to be more fulfilling than our own. But comparison, no matter how natural it feels, does not serve us. It destroys the very essence of who we are, and it blinds us to the beauty of our own journey. The problem with comparison is that it's never based on the full picture. When we compare ourselves to someone else, we're usually looking at their highlight reel, not the behind the scenes. We see the success, the achievements, the accolades, but we don't see the struggles, the failures, the moments of doubt. We are measuring ourselves against a curated version of someone else's life, one that often leaves out the difficult parts. And even when we do see those parts, we rarely understand the context in which they exist. The comparison is shallow because it only focuses on what appears to be, not on the reality of someone's entire experience. When you compare yourself to others, you start to feel inadequate. You start to believe that your progress isn't enough, that your achievements don't matter because they don't measure up to someone else's. You may feel that the path you're on is too slow or too uncertain compared to someone else's rapid success. And in doing so, you lose sight of the unique strengths and qualities that make you who you are. Instead of appreciating your own journey, you start questioning its value. You begin to judge yourself based on standards that were never meant for you. This comparison often leads to envy, jealousy, and dissatisfaction. You look at someone else's accomplishments and feel that you're falling short, that you're not where you should be. This breeds a sense of lack, making you focus on what you don't have rather than appreciating what you do. It causes you to overlook the progress you've made and the growth you've experienced because you're too busy focusing on what someone else has achieved. It becomes a never-ending cycle of measuring and remeasuring, always coming up short. In addition, comparison robs you of joy. When you're constantly measuring your life against someone else's, you can't truly enjoy what you have. Even the good things in your life lose their shine when you're too focused on what you don't have. You might achieve something significant, but instead of celebrating it, You wonder why it doesn't feel as grand as someone else's accomplishments. Or maybe you achieve something, but because it doesn't match someone else's timeline or success, you discredit it altogether. This robs you of the ability to truly feel joy for what you've accomplished and experienced. The more you compare, the more you diminish your own sense of self-worth. It's easy to forget that everyone's journey is different. Your path is uniquely yours, shaped by your experiences, your struggles, and your growth. It is not meant to look like anyone else's, and trying to mold it into someone else's version of success only sets you up for frustration and disappointment. Your value is not determined by how you measure up to someone else, but by who you are and what you bring to the world. You have a unique purpose, and no one else can fulfill it the way you can. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you open up space for self-acceptance and growth. You start to appreciate the journey you're on, and you begin to focus on the things that truly matter. Your own goals, your own growth, your own progress. Instead of measuring yourself against someone else's timeline, you embrace your own pace and trust that everything is unfolding as it should. You stop measuring your worth based on external markers and start measuring it based on the person you are becoming. Comparison takes away the freedom to be yourself. It shackles you to a version of success that may not even align with your own values or desires. And in doing so, it robs you of the chance to live authentically, to embrace your own path, and to celebrate your unique journey. Let go of the need to compare and instead embrace the beauty of your own progress. Know that your story is yours alone, and that's exactly how it's meant to be. Your past does not define your future. This truth can be incredibly freeing when you truly understand it. So often, we allow the mistakes, failures, and even successes of our past to dictate where we're going, to decide how we see ourselves and what we believe we're capable of. We cling to memories, both painful and proud, as though they are the final word on who we are and what we can achieve. But the reality is that your past is simply a part of your story, not the conclusion. It doesn't have the power to determine what you will become, unless you let it. There's a tendency in all of us to look at our past experiences and form an identity around them. If you've faced hardship, if you failed in the past, you might see yourself as someone who is always struggling, always falling short. Maybe you're carrying around the weight of mistakes you made or the regrets of opportunities missed. Maybe the pain you've experienced in the past makes you feel like you're doomed to repeat it, like there's no way out of that cycle. On the other hand, if you've had past successes, it's easy to cling to them, believing that you have to maintain those heights, that your value is defined by what you've already done. Either way, your mind can become fixated on a past that is no longer relevant to your present or future. The truth is, your past is not a reflection of your potential. What happened yesterday, last year, or even 10 years ago is just that, history. It's gone. It cannot be changed. What matters most is what you do with the knowledge and experience you've gained from it. The key to unlocking your future is not living in the past, but using it as a stepping stone to move forward. Every setback you faced has taught you something. Every mistake has shown you where you can grow. And even the achievements you've experienced are just a reminder of the resilience and capabilities you have within you. You have to stop identifying with your past failures or successes and start recognizing your ability to create a new story, to rewrite the narrative. There is immense power in recognizing that you have the freedom to choose your next steps. Just because something didn't work out the way you wanted before doesn't mean it's impossible now. Just because you made a mistake doesn't mean you're a failure. And just because you were successful in the past doesn't mean you have to constantly live up to those same standards. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to evolve. Your past doesn't control your future unless you allow it to. We sometimes use our past as a shield, either to protect us from taking risks or to keep us in our comfort zones. But this is a false sense of security. Holding on to the past only limits you because it keeps you tied to experiences and ways of thinking that no longer serve you. It's like trying to drive forward while constantly looking in the rearview mirror. You'll miss what's ahead and make decisions based on a version of reality that is no longer accurate. You cannot move forward if you're constantly looking back. The future, however, is full of endless possibilities. It's full of opportunities to rewrite your story, to step into new roles, to challenge yourself in ways you never have before. Your past might have been full of obstacles, but those obstacles have also shaped you into someone stronger, wiser, and more resilient. And now it's time to take all that you've learned and apply it to your future. You have the power to create new outcomes, new opportunities, and new experiences that reflect who you are now, not who you were. Each day is a new beginning. The beauty of life is that it is always moving forward. You may have faced challenges in the past, but those challenges don't have to define you. They are simply experiences you've had, and they are a part of what has made you who you are today. But the person you are today is not bound by what happened yesterday. You are constantly evolving, constantly growing, and you have the ability to shape your future in a way that aligns with your dreams, your values, and your vision for your life. Let go of the idea that your past has the power to limit you. Embrace the truth that your future is yours to create, and it is not defined by anything that has come before. Your story is still being written, and you have the pen in your hand. Where you go from here is up to you. The past is simply a chapter, not the whole book. Healing requires permission to let go. This idea may sound simple, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself. We often think that healing is something that just happens to us over time, a process that we have no control over. We assume that if we wait long enough, the pain will fade, the wounds will close, and life will simply go back to normal. But real healing, the kind that transforms us and frees us, requires an intentional decision, the decision to let go. Letting go is not about forgetting. It's not about pretending that the past didn't happen or that the pain wasn't real. It's about releasing the hold that those experiences, those emotions have on your present and future. It's about freeing yourself from the grip of past hurts, regrets, and fears that keep you stuck. The reason so many of us struggle with healing is that we hold on to things that no longer serve us. We carry them sometimes without realizing it because they've become part of who we are. We hold on to the pain because it's familiar. We hold on to the anger because it feels like justice. We hold on to the guilt because it seems like a way to make up for what happened. But in reality, holding on to these things only prevents us from moving forward. Healing starts with giving yourself permission to let go of the things that are weighing you down. It's about acknowledging that you deserve peace, joy, and freedom from the emotional burdens that have been holding you captive. It's recognizing that your worth is not tied to your past mistakes, the things others have done to you, or the ways in which you've been hurt. When you hold on to these things, you are allowing them to dictate how you live, how you love, and how you see the world. But when you choose to let go, you are taking back control. You are saying, I am no longer defined by this. I am no longer bound by this. I choose to move forward. Letting go is not always easy. It's natural to want to hold on to what's familiar, even if it's painful. The process of healing often requires confronting difficult emotions and experiences that we've avoided for so long. It requires vulnerability, the vulnerability to face the hurt, the anger, and the grief, and to allow ourselves to feel those emotions without letting them take over. It's a process of forgiveness, not just for others, but for ourselves. We forgive ourselves for the things we did or didn't do, for the choices we made, and for the mistakes we've carried with us. Forgiveness is a gift we give ourselves, not the other person, because it frees us from the weight of resentment and bitterness that keeps us tied to the past. When you give yourself permission to let go, you're giving yourself permission to heal. You're saying that you no longer want to carry the weight of past hurt, the guilt of things you can't change, or the fear of things that haven't even happened yet. You're saying that you are worthy of peace and happiness, and that you are ready to embrace the future with an open heart. This act of letting go is an act of self-love and self-care. It is one of the most powerful decisions you can make for your mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Letting go also means releasing the need to control everything. It's about surrendering the outcome and trusting that the future will unfold as it is meant to. Many of us hold on to control as a way to protect ourselves from disappointment or pain. But in doing so, we only create more resistance and struggle in our lives. The act of letting go is an act of trust. Trust that things will work out. Trust that you will be okay. Trust that the universe or whatever higher power you believe in has a plan for you. It's about trusting that everything you've been through has shaped you into the person you are today, and that you are exactly where you need to be in this moment. Healing requires letting go, but it also requires patience. You may not feel the shift overnight. You may have to go through the process of releasing in layers, little by little, as you are ready. But the key is to start. Start with the decision to let go, to stop carrying the past with you into the future. As you make that decision, healing begins. You'll feel lighter, freer, and more open to the possibilities that await you. And as you heal, you will find that you are not only letting go of the pain, but also making space for joy, love, and new experiences. You are giving yourself the opportunity to step into a new chapter of your life, one where you are no longer held back by the things you can't change, but instead are empowered by the freedom that comes from truly letting go. Fear of failure often keeps us from reaching our true potential. It's a powerful emotion that can paralyze us, making us question our abilities, our worth, and our chances of success. The fear of failure whispers to us in quiet moments, convincing us that we are not enough, that we are destined to fall short, or that we will embarrass ourselves. It holds us back from taking risks, from stepping out of our comfort zones, and from pursuing the very things that could lead to growth and success. But what if the very thing we fear the most is actually the key to our growth? Failure is not the enemy. In fact, failure is one of the most important stepping stones on the road to success. Without failure, there is no progress. It is failure that teaches us the lessons we need to learn, the ones that help us evolve and become stronger, wiser, and more resilient. The truth is, we learn far more from our